In this video, we're going to be learning how to lay out a website by creating a grid. All right, all websites really exist on a grid-like system, and it's really important to have a nice grid. So if you go to a website, like let's just think of a very typical one like Nike. I know I keep using this, but you would see that if you searched in any of these for like shoes, they're really, it's just in this grid system. So what you can see here is that there's a grid right here that has a row and 3 columns, 1, 2, 3. It kind of just repeats forever, right? We can go to Adidas. I know, Mr. Siegel, you keep going to the same websites. Whatever, sorry. Let's see what their grid system's like. It seems a little zoomed out, so let me get to 100%. You can see that they have a row with 4 columns here, right? 4 columns, 4 columns, okay? So websites exist on these grid systems. Even like the New York Times, it's a little bit more complex, but there is a grid here. You can see here that this is like a row, right? There's a column, here's a column, here's a column. It's all gridded out. So websites exist on grids. Some are simpler, some are more complex, but we're going to learn how to make a grid using Bootstrap. All right? Now, the first thing I want to do is we're going to make a website here, a very simple one. So I'm just going to start by grabbing a very simple nav bar. So if you go over here, there's a nav bar. Okay, I'm going to grab this one over here. Super simple. It's this, right there. Boop. Okay, let's put that on our website. Oh, I forgot to say nav bar start. Right. Ooh, what was that? Nav bar end. Right, so I just add that in, my code in the middle, just to make sure everything looks good. All right, so you can see I have my nav bar here, right? We'll just call this, what should we make a website about? Last time we did cats. Let's do capybaras this time. Capybara website. They're so cute. If you haven't gotten to capybaras, they are amazing. Now the next thing we're going to add is our grid. So I'm actually going to say this, grid start. I'm going to say grid end. Now, this grid will be the main body of our page, and what we're going to do is instead of importing something, first I'm just going to write something called a div. And let me explain to you what a div is. A div is short for divider, and really it's better to think of it like a box. So what I'm doing is creating a box that my grid will exist in. So while I'm doing like the coding part of this, I'm also just going to be sketching what we're doing. So what we're doing is we're creating basically like an open grid. So let's get this right here, and just think of it as this. You just created this box right here to put a grid in. That's it. That's all you have so far, just a box. Now, to use it for Bootstrap, you must put something here, which make your div a class of container. So that lets the Bootstrap know that this is going to be your grid. All right, the next thing you have to do is in your grid, you have to create a row. So what we're going to do is say this, div, okay, I'm creating a div. See how it's in between this div? So inside of this box, I'm putting another box, another divider. And we're going to give this the class of row. Okay, so inside the container, notice how between these two divs, I'm putting a row. Okay, and what you've created is this. Okay, you've created a row in which to put something. All right, so now I have a row. Now, once you have a row, we're going to create columns. All right, so what I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to create 3 columns. And just to show you what that will look like, is I'm just creating 3 boxes like this. One. By the way, I just want to be clear that you do not have to be sketching things. I'm just showing you. I'm just going to make 3 columns here. What is that? Can I just copy and paste? I don't know. I never use this. Okay, I can't. Let's just make another one. Okay, so I'm going to make a second one, and then I'm going to make a third one. Obviously, this looks terrible. I'm better at coding than I am drawing on a whiteboard, but you can see here, so now I have a row, and I'm going to put 3 columns in it. These are the columns. And the way you're going to do that is inside your row, we're going to create 3 columns. A div with a class equals col. Okay? 1, 2, and 3. So this is getting a little confusing. I'm going to start indenting a little bit. But if you look here, let's just see what's going on here. I have a container, right? Inside that container grid, I have a row, okay? And inside of my row, I've put in 3 columns. Now that I've had all the boxes put out, what you could do is actually start putting content in them. Just to show you what this would look like is very simply, let's just say I put the words, hey, you, sup. You notice how instead of going on top of each other, they've gone into these 3 separate columns, right? So let me just say this. Now, instead of just putting those boring words there, we can put more interesting stuff. So what I'm going to do is actually grab cards. Remember how I told you cards are best friend? Yeah, let's grab some cards. So I'm going to grab this card right here, this first one that you see. I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to put those in my columns. So instead of hey, what I'm going to do is over here where it says call, I'm going to do this. Okay. You, what I'm going to do is do this. And this where it says sup, I'm going to do this. So notice how I put them inside the calls, each column. I know this might be going insane right now, but just stay with me, all right? So what I've done is created my 3 cards. And if you look here, let's see how this looks. Oh, I want to, that's sad. Okay, hey, look, I'm logged in. You can do this. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. Okay, can I see my website? You can see now I have my 3 cards next to each other, right? Because there's 3 columns. Had I not put those columns there, it wouldn't have stacked up like that. Okay, so I'm just going to look a little prettier for everyone. I want you guys to see a good looking website. Okay, and this is my 3rd column. Okay, now notice here, so I have 1 row with 3 columns, and I put those cards inside. Now I need some capybaras. Capybara. So cute. Let's grab 3 little cappies. 3 caps. Cappy number 1. Copy this image. Okay, I'm going to replace that for my first card. I know this can be a lot overwhelming because like we're doing like a lot, like you're just copy and pasting a lot of code, right? That can get to be a lot. 2. And let's get my 3rd copy. Where's my 3rd capybara? Oh, the baby one. No, I want this one. Okay, here we go. Copy image address. And what I'm going to do is throw that in here. So now I have my website. So you see here, I have my capybara website, and I have these 3 capybaras. By the way, you might say to yourself, they're not the same size. This is where I'd like customize my CSS. So I'd just go here to my CSS, and what I would do is look. Let's see. This is this over here. This has the class of card image top. Okay. So what I would do to style it is I'd do this. What I'll do is set the height of each one to the same thing. Let's set them all to 300 pixels. What that should do is make them all the same. A little stretchy, right? Maybe we should go down to 250. Now that says the height has to be the same. That looks a little better, right? So you can see now I have these 3 in this row. Okay, now that might have been a lot, so let's just do it one more time. So I just want to once again emphasize what we have here. We have our container, right? The container is our general grid. That's that outside box here. After that, we put a row. So if you saw here, I have a row here, right? If we go back here, that's this, the row. Okay? And then inside of there, I've created 3 columns. Column 1, column 2, and column 3. And in each of the columns, I put a card. And that's why I have it like that. Now what I could do is make a second row now. So this is where the first one ends. Okay, notice how they highlight. I'm going to put a row underneath this. And this time, let's put 4 cards. Let's go crazy. So I'm going to put a div here. All right. Once again, I'm going to give this the class is equal to row. So I'm making a new row. And now this time we're going to put 3 columns. Okay, so class equals column. All right. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, and 4 different columns in this row. So once again, to keep drawing these, I've created a new row, right, like this. And this time it's going to have 4 separate boxes in it, right? Not every single one of these has to look the same. You could have them vary each one. It doesn't matter. You could have each row has its own amount of columns. It's totally up to you. All right. So this one's going to have 4. Okay. Now I'm going to come back over here, and I just got to throw my cards back in there. So let's grab more of these, and I'm going to put a card in each one of these. Gotta get ugly though. Inside of this column, put 1. Inside this one, I'm going to put 1. This one, I'm going to put 1. And this one, I'm going to put 1. I know it's intimidating. Notice how I'm putting it in between the divs. You can see here now I have 4. See I have 4 cards here? Let's get some more capybara pictures just to make sure it looks good. Okay, copy image address. I'm just going to keep throwing these into each one. I love capybaras. They're so cute and I love them. There's another capybara. Everybody loves their capybaras. Capybara, 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 capybara. Just two more guys. All right, I'm just putting them in for my images. Right, everywhere I see an image, I'm just replacing the source with these. And let's just do one more. Hi, capybara. That's the one. Capybara. And let's put that in here. Okay, now if you look here, now I have my two rows, right? Row number 1 with 3, row number 2 with 4. And it's looking pretty good. All right, I like it. I like it a lot. Now, what I can do here is, you notice how there's just not a lot of space between the rows? We could add a little space between the rows. So what I could do here is this. Let's say this row, margin top. Remember, it's a class of row. 250 pixels. And we'll do margin bottom. Pixels. Let's see how that looks. See, now I have a little space between my rows. All right. So basically, that's the whole thing. You could keep creating rows as much as you want. I think we've got here, but the idea is you have your container, right? Oof, a lot of code. And every time you want a new row, you just create your row, div, with a class equal to row. So now I have a new row provided to me. And then you just put your columns. So if you want just 2 columns, I would do div with a class equal to col and that. So now I have 2 columns. Now, just so you know, yeah, that's it. That's really what you need to know. All right, so I'm going to delete this because I don't want that there. And just so you guys know, if you want to make this look a little bit better, you can actually remove, you see where it says style, width equals 18? I'm going to actually remove this because this forces the size of your card to be a certain size of 18 rem, which is like 18 times 12 usually. So that would be what? That's good math. 216. Does that sound right? I'm just moving that off. You can see now it looks a little bit better. It's a little bit more stretched out, but I think these look a little bit nicer. And it fits the screen a little bit better. So now I have this. I got my nice lines. Obviously, if I wanted to be better, I would add these little descriptions here, and it would look a lot better. But this is my Capybara website. Now it's your turn, once you've got this complete, to make your own website about your high school memories using some real photos. All right, so grab some photos. You're going to make your own little thing. Yeah, get it going. I'm sure you can make something really cool. All right, that's it. Peace.